Welcome back to Travis Shikes again. We're gonna switch things up again with our t-shirts, even though you're not really gonna be able to see it most of the time, but hey, it's the thought that counts.
We know it's there and that's all that matters. Also, really like that Freddy Krueger shirt.
I do appreciate, like, the wide variety of t-shirts that are in here, but if there's one thing that's also kind of a bummer about them, is that a whole lot of these t-shirts are just the game's logo and, like, not much else interesting on it.
Yeah, kind of a wasted opportunity. Like, the Hollow Knight one's a really nice design.
Yeah, but, like, the thing that I always kind of, like, go back to as being, like, pretty, like, a bad example is that the Messenger gets a t-shirt in here, except all it is just the logo saying The Messenger. Even though when you boot that game up, it has this splash screen of, like, a pretty good piece of artwork that could have been placed on a t-shirt somewhere. So it's like, all of these things are really there just for, like, the representation of it. Yeah. Like, Suda really does appreciate the indie scene and, like, wants to add as much as he could. But before we start the next Death Drive game, after you beat Life's Destroy, Jean goes missing. She somehow finds her way into the Death Drive, and you have to go back through the earlier games just to find the location that she, like, describes in her facts. In which case, we have to go back to Electric Thunder Tiger 2 and inside the factory area. One thing that's also, like, important when you're going through these sections is to pay attention for the sound of a cat meowing. It's admittedly kind of hard to hear it all with the enemies blowing up and such, but
screaming and the shattering and the "ow, don't hurt me."
But, like, you basically follow the meows, and, like, as it gets louder, you are on the right track for it. It's easier some more times than others to actually find her, even if in some cases it takes a while to get to her, because, like, the fortunate thing about these games is that once you go through them, you can select a toilet to spawn from because they count as checkpoints.
Yeah.
But the checkpoints that you have to take to get to where Jean is here, it's still quite a ways back. Like, the last one you had to go to is right outside of the factory.
Yay, kitty.
You want something to eat?
And yes, Travis does say something different every time he finds Jean, which is pretty sweet. He cares about his fat little kitty.
Yeah. I think asking her if she wants something to eat, given what happened, not the best. No, I would avoid that.
Yeah, I was kind of weirded out and disappointed when I saw Jean's actual model in this, and that she's back to being pretty plump, especially after going through all the hassle in No More Heroes 2 to get her fit.
Yeah, she's a chunky girl.
Who apparently talks now.
And can use a fax machine.
And only in visual novel land. So, we have gone from fake rotoscoping to live-action FMVs.
Oh,
are you
shit.
up for some late 90s PS1 CG openings, motherfucker?
Oh, this is my shit.
This is no joke my favorite out of all of the Death Drive game openings. It just like you, it is exactly my shit. It is.
This is so many Tecmo games from that era. This is fucking Deception.
It so is, like, the bad shitty, like, blood drip effect and everything. Like the super stiff, like, slow moving walk cycles, the fact that the textures are super low res.
Everything shiny as fuck, like it's made out of metal. Really bad movement cycles.
Yep. No proper voice acting because they couldn't figure out how to sync it with actual mouth movements.
And they just got like 3 hobos from around the corner to do all the voice work in it. Yep.
This is literally the shit I wish actual indie devs took more of a chance with.
Yes.
Enough of all of this 8 and 16-bit like throwback horse shit. Like, go for the eras that people don't remember or think are like, or somehow don't think would actually work. Because I always remember the long-standing argument being, oh, if you're going to go to the effort of making a shitty looking 3D thing, why not just actually put the effort to making it good? Yeah. And to that I say, well, then why don't you take your pixel art games and take the effort to make them not look like a SNES game?
Exactly. Like, everyone remembers Final Fantasy VI and Secret of Mana and all that. They don't remember everything else looking like complete ass.
Yeah. Also, they barely remember what Genesis games look like, which
there
are so few, if ever, that actually fit that role. Also, this is a funny thing I like. The dialogue windows are different.
And really stilted translations.
Yep, further hammering in that feeling. And I even love the portraits. Like, all they're missing are some animations, and you could like put those on like Hypnospace Outlaw or something.
just animate the jaw and an occasional eye blink every 35 seconds.
Yeah, God, this is what I love about the game. Too bad this particular Death Drive game is not the best in terms of playing it, but it's at least better than Life is Destroy.
Yeah, I mean, at least we can say, yes, this looks interesting, if nothing else.
Yeah, but it leads into kind of another, well, not exact same issue as Life is Destroy, but the structure for this is that we're in this mansion, and the mansion, it has doors that will lead us to actual levels. Kind of like the overworld and house sections of Life is Destroy.
The old man has collapsed.
This guy are sick. ... Mm-hmm. But yeah, this has kind of like a similar back and forth in environments that like Life is Destroy had. But at least unlike the overworld street sections, the mansion is at least a safe spot. It's treated as a proper hub. The problem comes in later on when you start seeing me cut out the sections in which I have to go through a bunch of different doors and elevators just to get to the part that means progress. And also that it's long. I'm sure you remember, like, I said it before, all these Death Drive games get pretty long in a lot of ways. But we now have our goal. This old man has collapsed, the guy we saw in the intro. He's presumably dead, and so in order to send his spirit off safely to the next life, we need to gather some coffee and donuts.
Oh fuck, it makes as much sense as anything else.
Yeah. This music at least is super goddamn chill.
Yeah, it looks Resident Evil, but it's more like, well, we're just taking a stroll through a mansion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about the frame rate, it gets better, I promise. That is literally the only time when you start Coffee and Donuts that it actually chugs like that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was the game or the video or the connection or what.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of crazy too, just because this is actually like the only game in the No More Heroes series that runs at 60 FPS. They actually did a pretty good job of like optimizing it so that it runs smoothly. It's just that one section when you load into this area that it chugs for whatever reason, probably because of like it's trying to stream in all these assets into memory. And the background that you see, it does get used again in some of the later parts of this Death Drive game, but because you basically load it into memory once, it does not like chug the frame rate like it did at the start. So that's nice.
Kind of reminds me of some of the desert sections in Nier Automata.
It definitely has that look.
But I guess if you've seen, one destroyed city in the desert, you've seen them all.
Mm-hmm. Or hell, Fist of the North Star.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you think about it, actually, like, the music that was in that intro cutscene, it could very well have been, like, some, like, any sort of background track that would play in Fist of the North Star.
Yeah. All it's missing is a bombastic chorus.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and we got, like, some new skill chips to mess around with. The one that's at the bottom of like the four is I'm forgetting if I'm even getting the name right, but it's a Travis exclusive skill chip, and instead of being a Gundam reference, it is a dessert reference, much like his dark side moves.
Right. For a second there, I thought you said it's a Berserk reference, and I was like, oh, cool!
Yeah, no, it's not that, unfortunately, but yeah, it's like Nut Berry Mont Blanc or something like that. I forget it. Because, like, when you look at the skill chip name, it abbreviates it. Because it would have been too long to display otherwise. But yeah, like, that one is pretty neat because it basically lets you fire projectiles when you do your light attack. Okay, Cooper. I actually can't remember... Wait, no, it wasn't Catherine that he always thought
Diane.
It was Diane. Yeah, right.
Diane, I'm currently trapped in a mansion with 2 psychopaths and a bunch of bugs.
Yeah.
Day's not progressing as I thought it would.
That is very true. But the other thing is that the reason, like, I think it's he refers to Catherine is because Catherine was the name of your decoder briefcase that Sumio Mondo had in Flower, Sun, and Rain.
Yep.
In which he referred to it as if it was a person.
Yeah.
In a way that was kind of Twin Peaksy.
I think one of the actresses in Twin Peaks was Catherine O'Hara as well. She played the woman that owned the sawmill.
Yeah,
And a feud with Josie Packard.
Really fortuitous that we are getting Twin Peaks references from Bugstra when half of our goal in this game is to collect coffee.
Yeah, when I heard the name, I thought, okay, so this is going to be Deadly Premonition Land. Nope. Non-indicative name.
Because unlike Swery, Suda actually admits to have seen Twin Peaks.
Well, I've never heard of this show. Was it Twin Pike? What? No.
Double Mountain?
Silent Hill, yes, that I've heard of.
Yes.
Excellent movie. Very underrated. I think that might be the most controversial thing I've said this entire LP so far.
What, the Silent Hill movie?
Underrated, yeah.
I mean, I feel it's underrated in the sense that at the very least the director tried to not make it a shit show.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't perfect.
Visually, it's an amazing movie. I can understand why people would be feeling betrayed by it, because who wouldn't?
Yeah.
But I enjoy it just the way it looks.
Yeah, I mean, like, wasn't there like a... Because I think I remember like hearing it mentioned somewhere, like, as far as that movie taking its inspirations, was that it tried to replicate a specific type of camera angle that was used early on in Silent Hill 1. It's like where you're going through like an L-shaped alleyway.
Yeah.
And like the way it's like it's overhead but rotates and turns in such a way that is very like unsettling.
Yeah. The movie has several scenes which are basically like shot-for-shot remakes from the game, so if nothing else, they did do their homework.
Yeah.
Can't fault them for that, but...
Mortal Kombat movie's still the best game adaptation, though.
Oh, absolutely. Those are $500 sunglasses, asshole. Just the fact they keep referencing it in the game shows you how good it was.
Yeah, it's the fact that the movie, like, basically informed how Kano should be in the games, in that he should be an Australian.
That's it.
Because Australians are criminals, as we all know.
Even funnier, the fact that the actor, I think it's Trevor Goddard, he wasn't even Australian.
Yeah, he literally, like, I think it was like, it was not even so much that he went, oh yeah, I can fake an Australian accent. He specifically went, oh yeah, I'm actually Australian.
It didn't come out until after he died.
Yeah.
It's like, that's commitment to a role.
Man. That's some hustle.
Hey man, I'm Australian and I've got a great accent. Bloody hell. I apologise to all Australians. Yeah, it's kind of like in Scotland, we use that one particular word not as an offensive word, more as punctuation.
Very much so. So now we got our first set of coffee and donuts, and it is time to pay our respects to the old collapsed man.
We shall send him to Stovokor.
There's another detail I should mention about like how the dialogue works in this. Whether you're in single player or co-op, Batman is always going to be in the player 2 slot. But you can actually like select Batman as your primary character and Travis as your like sidekick in this case, and their portraits will swap to reflect like the player 1 and player 2 dialogue. So you could have gone in as Batman and Travis would go, "Oh my god, the old man collapsed." Even better, there are DLC characters in this game that you that are unlocked once you have the DLC and beat the game. You go back through this game on New Game Plus with those characters, they will have their own portraits here, but still have the same dialogue. The same shitty, literal translated dialogue.
Wow.
It's so good. Man, if you couldn't tell already, like, even if this game, as far as playing through it, is not the absolute best the Death Drive has to offer, I fucking adore everything about this stylistically.
I'm just impressed that... Like, I want to know how this was originally in Japanese, because the really stilted translation is definitely a Western thing. So I want to know, was it like having to keep to certain character limits, or...
I would not be surprised if that was it or something, because
Yeah.
Well, it's weird too, because I feel like, there's obviously like certain we've got a whole bunch of words of the English language that effectively mean the same thing and are synonyms, whereas the Japanese language generally does not, especially with curse words. Like,
Yeah.
you only really need to say kuso or if you're gonna say shit or damn or fuck.
Or just referring to someone with the wrong honorifics or in the wrong tone of voice, and oh boy, that's again more.
Exactly. So it's like, I would imagine that they actually played it straight in the same way that this tries to, in that they try not to like do anything super stylish, add any sort of extra flavor to the Japanese text.
Yeah.
And maybe part of that could have been trying to replicate like the character limits that they could display.
Yeah.
But even then, like the reverse of what you described with with Japanese text being translated being really stilted in the West, like the reverse has happened before, and it's always with like old Capcom games, the ones that like had the English voice acting. Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, God Hand especially was like biggest example of that, because you have Razel going, "Long live the guitar," and the Japanese text goes, "I love guitar." Like, so much of like the opposite is true, because Capcom at least like had this idea that they want their games to have like a global presence, so they try and make it with English in mind first.
Yeah, and I mean the Resident Evil games traditionally always had an English voice track regardless of where in the world it was released.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, at least as far as like the difference between like Japanese and Western language and the localization thereof, like I do appreciate like the level of quality Suda has gone with, not just like his writing in like his own language, but also getting localizers who can understand what he's going for, even with that language barrier, and able to like convey it properly in English.
Yeah, because I mean, with games and anime these days, we've gone from all dubs are garbage to no, only direct translations are good, because it's the purest type of language there is. Watashi wa sugoi desu.
Yeah.
I was like, it winds up being really dry and bad to read, I'm sorry.
Very much so. And even then, like, subs in general, like, get better because the way they avoid that problem is they take liberties to make it work better with what is like common or acceptable in that given language.
Yeah. So it annoys me when, people still pull out the all dubs are garbage thing, because it's not true, and it hasn't been true for at least a decade. Because they realize now there's money to be made.
at the very least, like, that statement's no longer true if you're sticking with most of, like, what Funimation does these days, since that's, especially with Dragon Ball, like, being, like, their main commodity, like, dubs are a big part of their business.
Yeah.
That was the shortest enemy encounter I have ever done in this game.
Well, I'll stop you. Blarg.
Blar. Yeah. It's already easy to tell, like, what the repetitive element of this game is, as you can see.
Yeah, I just realized we're literally on a fetch quest.
Mm-hmm. A fetch quest that repeats not twice, but like 3 more times after the first one.
I'm gonna go into the basement, the sub-basement, the torture bunker.
More like we just like keep going up more floors in this mansion. At the very least, much like with Life is Destroy, footage is going to start getting cut out. Like once we finish this. Yes. Siphon Brooder, get the fuck out. Bugstra, very, very strong in his feelings about the best coffee.
Can't wait to hear what we think about beer.
Mm-hmm.
Heineken? Fuck that shit.
Mm-hmm. No beer with this ramen? Negative 5,000. I forgot to mention actually with the ramen in Life is Destroy, one of the ramen that you get is called aburo soba, and the description like that Travis writes up about it on his blog is so funny because of how it correlates with the score he gives it, which is he gives it, I think it's like 9,110,000 points. Negative. I'm sorry, I meant negative.
Right.
9,110,000 points.
I thought the joke was going to be, it's like, I give this 9,110,001 points, but then I have to take them away because no fucking beer. Minus everything.
No, the joke is that because the injustice of not being given a beer makes him want to call the cops, he's giving it negative 9,110,000 points. It is the lowest score he gives out of all the ramen, and it is still my favorite for that reasoning.
I really like this, but they served shitty beer. I want these. It's bad enough they didn't serve beer before, now they serve bad beer. I want them in front of The Hague.
This is a Geneva Convention violation, goddammit. Also, a really silly juxtaposition right here of post-apocalyptic buildings and floating donut platforms.
Yeah, can't we just, like, drag those over to the dead dude and, I don't know, beat him with them?
More importantly, can I just eat them, please?
That's it. Damn, I'm hungry.
Yes. Okay, yeah, so 2 steps. Three steps. First step is bring the donuts out of here back to the mansion. 2, like, stuff the old man with the donuts till he explodes and dies for real. 3, eat the remaining donuts that he did not get to eat.
Just pile them all up and sit on a giant throne of donuts. Be like, ha 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 ha, king of the donuts.
All while sipping a nice hot cup of siphon brewed coffee.
With a pipe. Just because it seems appropriate.
Yeah.
With a smoking jacket. Just going, yes, excellent. Donut together.
Man, I want some goddamn donuts.
I'm gonna have to get something to eat after this.
Nah. So now we got coffee and donuts. Again. And we have to give it to the old man so that his spirit can pass. Again.
After the 3rd repetition of this, I just imagined, like, Badman holding his jaw open and Travis cramming them in. He wants the fucking donuts, he's gonna get them!
Please, rest in peace. Oh, man.
After I was like, no, please! Rest in
Please,
peace.
for God's sake, we just want to fight the boss. And now we're officially halfway through this.
Yeah.
Yes, what was that continue about? You don't suppose that he might have multiple lives, would it?
Yeah, so they start stuffing them in with a plunger, right? And
Yeah. Potty break. Got a nice look at that super hot t-shirt. Which is admittedly one of the better ones, hence why I picked it.
yeah, most innovative shooter I've ever played.
Alright, now to actually head upstairs. Because now the way to the elevators is open. At least this music is super chill.
Yeah.
Going back to like the late 90s kind of vibe and stuff from it, it definitely feels like the type of music that you could have like autoplay on.
There we go.
Yep, I'm at Triple Peaks.
Not not associated or affiliated with any other town ever. Shut up.
Yep. Also, clever cuts from there. I went out that door and came out of an elevator, and oh shit, god damn it, there's two of them.
They're breeding.
More dead bodies. Is this Murder Mansion? No, but it's probably full of maniacs.
There, some dude with a pair of scissors is going to come out any minute.
So now we have to go back to the third floor because doors open on that, and this is actually the annoying part. When you go to the third floor, depending on which elevator you come out of, you can't access the other elevator from that floor because there is a wall literally blocking it. So you would have to go back up to the fourth floor, go to the other side, and then take it back down to the third floor.
It's almost like the game's actively punishing you for playing it.
Yeah, and also why I'm cutting out these running transitions, because it's like, admittedly it doesn't get quite as long as some of like the street sections in Life is Destroyed gets, but it's still extra tedium.
Yeah.
And it's even more disappointing for me in this case just because of how much I love everything about this style. I desperately want someone to look at what they did with Coffee and Donuts and go, yes, let's make an actual like early style 3D game that could have existed on the PS1 in '99.
Yeah, with the really awkward animations and the weird juddering that they do when they're simulating breathing.
Orbital strike incoming! That one's called the Strike Freedom, I think it's called.
Of course it is.
Yeah. And the bomb is called the Atlas.
Would have thought that the orbital strike would have been the X chip. Gundam X.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, like X and even double X are like different things in this one.
Yeah.
But also like the...
Oh, that's new.
Yeah. At least it's a different looking environment, and you did not have to see me go back into the mansion and needlessly run to it.
Oh, thank God. That reminds me of the old PS1 Jurassic Park titles.
Yeah. Or at the very least, like, this is where it starts to become extremely platformy, like old, like, 2.5D platformy.
Yeah.
So these donuts here, they bounce. People back when this game came out, they had no idea how to properly actually bounce on these things, that they thought that the platforming in this game was broken. And it turns out the actual way you solve it is you just hold the jump button and you jump high. Bugwees.
Right. It just reminds me of the whole Cuphead debacle.
Yeah. But even then it's like I would not like fault anyone for thinking like that the platforming in general is like not the highest quality, just because it's not. It's super functional. It's admittedly better than the time they implemented a jump button with Shinobu in No More Heroes 2.
Oh yeah.
But there's still a stiffness to your air control.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to it's hard to like make very small adjustments without feeling like you're going from 0 to 60.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the stuff, the old 16-bit games like Super Ghouls and Ghosts, where when you made a jump, you committed to that jump no matter what.
Yeah. But even then, it's more. But even then, you can still like turn yourself around pretty easily if you're doing a full jump. It's tricky, and like the more ideal way of doing it, where you would want to just nudge the stick to move even a tiny bit. Even that feels like it moves you too far at times. And I guess it's ultimately kind of saved by the fact that the donuts are placed far enough well that like. In most situations, you can just hold the analog stick in the direction full tilt and it will be fine.
Yeah. At least the game's forgiving enough not to send you back 5 miles for the previous shortcut if you bounce off in the wrong place.
Plus, the moment in which they finally introduced this forest area with the bouncy donuts is much needed and actually a way better way of mixing things up than the giant blue head in Life is Destroyed.
Yeah. Simpsons reference.
Yep. It's funny too because I don't think because with Bugstra, like all of his stuff is like very closely referencing Twin Peaks. I don't think there's anything like in the way of like a Simpsons reference.
Yeah, I'm gonna say kudos to them for that because I don't know, it would seem out of place because it's a bit too mainstream.
That, or I feel like if they were to do Simpsons reference, I think it would be smarter them to do something that isn't just, oh, strawberry donuts. Like, I would at least appreciate them if... I would... Maybe not appreciate, I would, like, understand and respect the decision to, like, subtly, like, include an Aurora Borealis reference. Like if you were to have a section where like there's like a part of the Death Drive game that isn't complete, and just like the Bugstra is telling you, oh yeah, that's so and so, and Travis just does the Aurora Borealis line. He goes, "Can I see it?
No.
No."
Although in this case it would probably be more to do with ramen. Oh no, it's from Osaka.
Yeah. This is Taiwan ramen? Yes, it is. Wait, but why is it from Nagano? No, shut up. It's Taiwanese.
No, I saw someone like selling it round the corner.
Yeah. We joke about that in the context of a Simpsons reference, but that is actually one of the ramen that you get a blog post about in this game. It's Taiwanese ramen, which it's called that, but it even points out that despite being called Taiwan ramen, it's not actually made. It did not originate from Taiwan. It was like from Nagano or somewhere in Japan. I think the reason for it might just be because the ingredients give it a flavor that might be like similar to other like Taiwanese dishes. Mainly just like the way the broth is made and like the spices that are applied to it gives it like a very different flavor compared to what you traditionally get for ramen.
Yeah, well, that's not uncommon. In the UK, you know, British curry is absolutely nothing like what you would get in India.
Or Japan.
Exactly. So, you know, yeah, that easily makes sense to me.
And Italian pizza is nothing like New York pizza, which we all know New York pizza is the best.
And there's nothing like Chicago pizza, which apparently is better used as a doorstop from what my American friends tell me.
Or... Well, okay.
Okay, I think that might be a more controversial statement now.
Well, hold on. I need to at least get you to make a clear distinction about what you mean. Do you mean regular pizza made in Chicago, or do you mean Chicago deep dish? Because if it's the latter, then we, sir, have a fucking problem.
I don't know. I've never been to the States. Leave me alone. I'm just reporting secondhand information. Leave me alone. Oh god, my inbox is going to be flooded.
I'll just...
If I manage to get out of this without a custom red text title, I'm going to be amazed. Ask me about my shitty opinions on pizza.
Just be sure to understand and acknowledge that deep dish pizza is not pizza and everything is cool.
I have no understanding of this, so I will blindly say, okay then.
Yes, deep dish pizza is not pizza. It's a fucking casserole. I wish, admittedly, I wish I had off the top of my head like the whole deep dish pizza rant Jon Stewart did on the Daily Show years ago, because it's so fucking funny and on point. But like, just look it up. Just like look up the Daily Show Jon Stewart's deep dish pizza, and he just goes on like a rant where it was like, I think it was like a news station kind of that was covering stuff from Chicago, and like one of the like the newscasters was going about, oh yeah, I had deep dish pizza, it was great. And then he pauses to go, okay, we got a problem.
We need to discuss a few things.
And ultimately, with the rant ending in him just pulling a giant slice of New York-style pizza out from under his desk and proudly eating it.
I have to admit, in terms of pizza, I do prefer thin and crispy, but, you know, that's me.
Yeah. I mean, I'll admit, just in real life, I'm not that much of a pizza snob, but I do realize, like, the value of, like, a good New York slice.
Yeah. Actually, I was talking about this with my girlfriend earlier, about, you know, both of us like pizza and burgers. And I came to the conclusion that a good pizza is good, but a good burger is heaven on a bun.
It very much is.
Like, bad pizza's like, well, okay, it's not that great, but, you know, you'll still eat it. But a bad burger, it's like someone just killed your pet in front of you.
Yeah, very much so.
And so, that's back to the Cooking Mama section of this game.
Yep.
All comes back to food.
Just to that one joke.
Now I'm going to shoehorn it in as often as I can.
Oh, man. This really would have been, like, if they wanted to actually expand, like, this concept further of you collecting food, like, they really should have... This actually would have been the best game for them to, like, insert, like, a random cooking mini-game or plot line.
Yeah, because, I mean, as I said, it would make about as much sense as anything else in this game.
Very much. Bugweast takes a lot of damage and is, like, the most terrifying enemy to actually face. Because you're not seeing it normally, but he has, like, rapid-fire projectiles and, like, very quick multi-hitting melee combos that just stun-lock you for seconds.
It kind of looks like he's meant to be based on Travis as well.
Just weird, because, like, he's definitely styling. Like, he's got a cool t-shirt and, like, jacket and such, but, like, he's also got a Tengu mask.
Yeah.
With a long nose and everything.
Kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. So thinking back on all the environments we've gone through, we've traveled through a bunch of Fist of the North Star ruined desert cities. We went through a lush green platforming area that would have been totally, like, in the spirit of, like, other, like, 2.5D platformers or whatever that existed at the time. And now we've got a place that I feel like is just missing some David Wise music.
I know, I'm expecting a sewer level any minute now.
No, well, thankfully there is no sewer level because this is actually the last of the levels. We'll get, like, the last donut and finally put the last copy of that old man to rest. Hopefully. Even I'm not sure anymore.
I'm still half expecting to run into, like, a little nest of them. all wrapped up on each other like little baby ferrets.
Oh, Jesus.
There's a mental image for you out there. Blueberry donuts. I'm assuming that was kind of look like sprinkles.
I also should mention something because with that old man in particular, we did not actually talk much about who his character is with all, like, the random tangents and bullshit we went on. But the man's name is Brian Buster Jr. Despite having the last name Buster, he has no relation to Speed Buster.
See, I was thinking it was going to be a reference to the Brain Buster wrestling move.
That could be part of it, but the other thing is that, as part of his, like, story, is that he is the son of Brian Buster, who was basically like a king or something in this post-apocalyptic world that got overthrown, like, in a coup, which was what the opening cutscene was, where, like, he's watching his father get executed as he's crucified. and it's during that section where like his eyes are cut out and he's blind and wears a blindfold. And like what the rest of the intro was implying is that he stumbles upon like an ancient ruin where apparently the brain of his father got uploaded to a wooden mecha.
Right.
And it acts as his eyes for Buster Jr. while he pilots it.
Have to admit, an RTS where you run around in a mech that contains the brain of your father would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, it totally would. Like it's got like it would have like shades of Front Mission mechanics applied to it as well.
Especially like at the period that this game's referencing, where they just be like, throw it in. It doesn't. We don't care if it makes sense. You know, that's like how you get games like Baroque, which also the intro reminded me of.
Yeah. Oh shit, he's still alive. oh, you're alive. Cool. Here, have these coffee and donuts.
Plot twist.
But oh no, he doesn't want them.
Plot twist.
See now, like the joke that we were like having about it, just shoving all the donuts down Batman's throat is like this is actually what we're basically doing the entire time. We're not letting him die because we're force feeding him all these fucking donuts. Oh
wow! I am
Notsuma with the world-class writing. Holy hell! Props to him.
Did I do something? Did I do a bad?
Technically, no matter which character you play as and where they ask that, the answer is always Travis. Also, quick ramen stop. And also, as you could probably tell, like, the ramen is, like, the only time that you get to see Boneface's art again for the dialogue. Which is kind of unfortunate. I wish they went the extra mile and, like, kept things consistent so that when you eat the ramen, you actually will, get that stilted translated dialogue and the shitty CG portraits. Yeah. I would love that.
A little 32-bit Bogjiro.
Yep. So now we are going to fight the boss proper, which is the man that we had been refusing to let die 4 times in a fucking row.
Horse mech.
Yep.
Or horse leg, even.
Supposedly we can go up to Mach 2, but no one has tried it because the risk of the wood catching on fire is too great. At least this part I can understand them still using the Boneface art because this is technically like outside of the proper game space.
Yeah.
But yes, Travis basically admits to, yeah, I was the one who kept giving you all the coffee and donuts. And he's like, you fool, why would you do this to me? By whom? By me. It's even more hilarious, actually, once we're near the end of the LP and I started going through like some of these bosses again with different characters. The dialogue, like, each of the playable characters have their own dialogue in place of Travis's, and it's especially funny with Brian Buster because when Buster asks who did this, and they go, Travis did. that otaku dickhead with the glasses, yeah, that was him. Fuck him. Fuckface McSunglasses, piece of shit.
Local weeb ruins everything.
Yeah, and now we get the proper boss fight with my favorite boss music of the game. It's just the proper sped up version of the opening cutscene theme. Look at that! So quickly I got him down to a quarter health.
Oh shit, it's a goddamn sentinel.
Yeah. And the sentinel is the one that will like order airstrikes on the entire arena after a certain period of time, but you can kill the mech fast enough if you're good that it won't be able to get to this part.
Okay,
yeah,
that attack just reminded me of the Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, this fight though, it went especially well for me. One thing to note is as it explodes, do not stand in front of it. It lets off like a last desperation attack. You have to murder the old man. I'm taking him with me. Suplex inside this beam of light.
Eat your own colon, old man.
You win.
Ah,
Perfect.
it's a fun fight.
50 seconds.
I do love the concept of it, yeah. And that's like a double S, well-deserved, the highest rank possible. Yeah, because that Strike Freedom chip is damn good, assuming you are able to get it off without being hit first. Because it leaves you vulnerable the entire time. I'm no Gandam pilot or whatever.
Clang.
Yeah, that is something I love about Travis as far as like his character improving in this game, but it also raises a question that I feel most people have forgotten about him, and it is like anime related. It's something I'll kind of like get to like once we're near the end of the video, because he still has to do his sort of reflection on his experience in the game with the sitting in the black empty space.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Coffee and Donuts, a game that was marginally better than Life is Destroy, but runs into its own version of tedium.
Yeah.
But it's made up for by the fact that its love for dumb, low quality like early 3D games from like the 90s is my favorite thing about it. and the boss music in particular is very rad. Yeah, Brian Buster like garners a lot of sympathy because his whole quest, once it was done, he kind of has nothing left to it. And unlike Triple Star, who basically decided to become the villain, more or less, because he lost everything, Brian Buster accomplished everything and realized there's nothing left for me, and I just want to pass away now. But as the role of a hero who can like, I guess, has multiple lives, it's kind of hard to get it.
Yeah, it's kind of a recurring theme in Suda's work, like, what do you do when you've done your great work?
Yeah, and like, what does death mean to you in that context? So yeah, like the thing that I was referring to, kind of going back to the Gundam reference and how there is a lot of like call-outs and like kind of references to various mecha. Like we had like the Getter Robo thing with Doppelganger and all the skill chips being Gundams. So the thing that always kind of like stuck in the back of my mind is that back in No More Heroes 1, Travis was known to have a very specific anime that was his favorite. It was a made-up anime that did not exist. It was called Pure White Lover Bizarre Jelly 5.
Yeah.
I can't believe I still remember that fucking entire title.
Wow.
And he had like the paraphernalia for that series all over the place in the first two games. Even more so in 2, where he has like the fucking wall scrolls and figurines and such. But he does not have anything that is in reference to that at all in his collection in this game. So I am actually curious if Travis actually has grown out of that phase, if he's no longer into that specific type of creepy anime bullshit.
Yeah, it could be that it was just like a weird flash in the pan anime, kind of like Harui or Lucky Star from that era.
Maybe, but I mean, like, even then, like, they went so hard in on, like, committing to that idea, and two, that they even made, like, a fake, like, actual anime opening for it. When you could, like, go and play, like, the game, like, that was based on it in his motel. But yeah, who knows? Like, all I know is that he clearly gives a shit now about good mecha series, so he is not the same level of degeneracy that he used to be.
Our boy's growing up.
Yep. I feel so proud.